And it's task 19, and what do? I present to you. Look at it. It is beautiful algebraic express. Is it not beautiful? Oh, absolutely phenomenal. Let's look at what's going on here. It's no more complicated than what we were doing before. Perhaps, and what I would recommend is for all of these, you write it the long way. That will help with the powers, because sometimes people make mistakes with the powers. Look at H. Look how. Oh wow. Oh, I'm excited. Are you excited? Let's do this. Let's do these together, and then I want you to do 4 on your own. I'm gonna say this for the first one. What is it? It's 3. Let me look and work in blue. Wow. So exciting. 3. I'm just gonna write it as 3, and then x squared is x multiplied by x. I'll just write it out using dot note. I won't use the dots. I'll just keep x times x, and then y squared. That's a y times a y. That's a long version. You'll never write it like this, but it's a brilliant way, I think, to help with the factorization. And then for the second term, it's 6 times x times y squared is y times y. Now, when I look at that, it's a lot easier to see what they have in common. We start with the numbers. We have a 3 and a 6. What's the biggest number that goes into 3 and 6? Yes, 3. And then the letters, do they have one x in common? So I'm going to take the x out. And then in terms of, so there's only one x in common. In terms of the y's, they have both y's in common. Because I know they have both y's in common, I can write it as y squared. I don't need to write the y now to further complicate, to have to convert it back. It's the whole y times y. That's y squared. And now I go through the process. I wanted 3 x 3x squared y squared. I have 3. I have one of the x's, but I'm supposed to have 2 of the x's. One of the x's is missing. That is the x that goes in the bracket. Do I have the y squared? Yes. Do I have the 3? Yes. It's just an x missing. And then for the second expression, I need to have plus 6. What do I multiply that 3 by to get plus 6? Plus 2. 3 times plus 2. Do I have the x? Yes. Do I have the y squared? Yes. That whole xy string, xy squared, is already on the outside. That is our answer. 3xy squared, that is the highest common factor. And then in brackets, we have x plus 2. Let's do another one. And do you want to have a go? Why don't you have pause and have a go? I encourage it. You know, you want to skip. I've given you a method. It's the same thing I'm going to do every time. So pause, have a go. You know what? Yeah, I changed my mind. I'm going to do this slightly differently. I'm going to do I'm not going to go do D and F right away. You're definitely going to pause and have a go on those. I'm going to do H. Oh boy, look at H. Look at that. And I'll write it the long way just for clarity, and hopefully you spot the patterns. X to the power 4. What is that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4 x's, and then y cubed. That's 3 y's. Y. Then for h, for the second part, it's x. I'm doing h. X squared is x. Whoa. Let's stick with the color coding. X and an x, and then the y to the power 6. My goodness. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're thinking it's hard work, but it doesn't take that long. And now, do they have any numbers in common? No. There's no numbers. We're only thinking about the x's. How many x's did they have in common? How many y's did they have in common? And we can quickly see that in both cases, I can get 2 x's. I can get x squared. So x squared is going to be one of the common factors. And as you get better at this, as you practice more, you're probably spotting, well, x to the power 4 is x squared and another x squared. That's what it is. You don't have to write it just in x, 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 x. You can actually do grouping using bigger powers than 1, x squared, x squared. Similarly here, y cubed and y to the power 6. I wrote it out as single y's, but y cubed is actually, y to the power 6, sorry, is actually y to the power 3, y to the power 3. You can group in 3's because it's actually the y cubed, that group of 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's what they have. It's groups of 3's, y cubed. So y cubed, I can get y cubed and y to the power 6. Y cubed is the highest common factor. The more formal way, once you're feeling very comfortable with this, is to think, well, whatever is the lowest power of x is going to be, you look at all your terms, and whatever is the lowest power of the first letter, in this case x, is going to be a common factor. Whatever is the lowest power of the second letter will be a common factor. When I compare, what's the lowest power of x's I have? X squared. What's the lowest common factor of y's I have? Y cubed. So if you use that technique, looking at the letters individually, each letter, x, y, it could be x, y, z, whatever it is, look at each letter individually, and the lowest power that's on each letter that you have throughout all your terms, that will always be your highest common factor for that letter. Lowest power, highest common factor for that letter. And that's what we've done. This is the long way of doing that. I put the brackets now. And what do I multiply x squared by to get x to the power of 4? I want x to the power of 4. I need to multiply x squared by x squared. Remember, for the idea, if you're using laws of indices, if you're comfortable with that, is for multiplication, you add the powers. I have x squared. To get to the x to the power of 4, I need 2 more x's to multiply by x squared. Similarly, so that gives me and let's tick it off. That's x to the power of 4, tick. And then for the next one, y cubed, I already have y cubed on the outside, so no need to write it down. Now I move on to the second term, the x squared y to the power 6. It's positive, so I put the positive. It's x squared. X squared is already there, so I don't need the x squared. I already have it outside of the bracket. I needed y to the power 6. I have y cubed. That means I need 3 more y's. I need another y cubed. So outside of the bracket is the y cubed. Inside, x squared y cubed. Outside the bracket, inside the bracket, x squared plus y cubed. That is your solution. And throughout, it's taking that systematic approach is what we're doing for these. So can you try DNF, please? Can you try DNF using this logic? DNF, you're doing those two, please. Right, you've done DNF. I'm going to put up the answers on those. I'll work through them reasonably fast. Then you'll get an exercise to do. So I'll do these reasonably fast. Let's get going with these. We're looking for the numbers 22 and 4. What's the biggest number that goes into 22 and 4? That will be 2. 4 doesn't go into 22. Then we're looking at the letters. They have an x in common, so I can take the x out. They also have, remember, y squared is y, so they have 1y in common to come out, 2xy. Then 2, what do I multiply 2 by to get 22? 11. I have x, I have y, there's nothing else I need other than the 11. The only thing I need is the 11. And then now, what do I multiply 2 by to get that positive 4? I multiply it by 2. What do I multiply 2? I'm finished with the 2. Now I'm comparing letters. I have the single x on the outside. Tick. Don't need that. I needed y squared. I have 1y. That means I need another y. 11 plus 2y is inside the bracket for D. Now for F, and you still have that chance again. If you haven't done so, do it now, please. Do F now, please. Okay, so F, we're looking at F, and we have x squared and x cubed, let's use that lowest power idea. Or if you want, write it out. The lowest power of x is x squared, so that's going to be the common factor. You could write it out the long way. You choose which strategy you prefer. And then y and z, there's nothing in common, no other letter in common. It's just the x squared that's coming out. Then x squared multiply, I have the x squared, there's a match, so I don't need x squared. I need to multiply it by y, so y has to go in the bracket. Then for the x cubed, multiply by z, minus x cubed by z. And perhaps useful, let's just write it out. X cubed is x squared. Wow, whoa, what was that? Whoa, take it easy. X cubed is x multiplied by x multiplied by x. In other words, it has the x squared, the two x's, and I need another x. So minus x cubed, I need a minus x. To get minus x times x squared will give me the x cubed. Do I have a z on the outside? No, so z needs to go on the inside. Xz is the term on the inside, minus xz. So these are 4 we have done. I did, and you had a chance. 2 of them you did on your own. We need more practice. This is the big classic solid grade 5, I would say here, territory that we're in, doing this kind of algebraic manipulation. 4 more to try. If you got D and F correct, actually, you know what? Do all 4. Do all 4. This is so important. Do all 4, please. All 4. Everybody doing all 4. Pause me. Thank you. Pause me. Thank you. Right, I'm going to put up the answers. I'm going to put up the answers now. And I'll just read these off. Okay, what did we have? We had x, y as a common factor and x plus y in brackets. Then for C, we have 5xy and x minus 7 in brackets. And then for E, we have x, y, z. Not often that you have that. And then x plus y in brackets. And finally for G, lowest power of x is x, so I have an x in common. Lowest power of the y's is y squared, so xy squared, using that lowest power technique, xy squared is the common factor. And then x, I need x to the power 6. This is x to the power 1. How many more x's do I need? I need 5 more x's, x to the power 5, because 5 plus 1 would give me 6. If you wanted to see it the long way, you're writing x. Write it down. You have one of them, you need 5 more. That's where the x to the power 5 is coming from. And then finally, we have x for the second term. I'm looking at that second term. I have x. I have y squared, but I need y. That's the y squared there. We need another y. So plus y is what goes on inside the bracket, and that is your answer for G. xy squared and x to the power 5 plus y in brackets. And that is factorizing all the way up to when we have some interesting powers. What we want to do now to wrap up Task 19, let's look at the same scenario, powers, big powers in some cases, but 3 terms. Look at what's happening here. Look at these 3 terms and the powers. If you think you know, if you build your confidence, get going. I'm setting up my pen here. You get going. I'm gonna talk through these. You can work with me or work before me. Then you'll get a few to do on your own. We build. How do we build it? First step. What is the first thing you're doing? The numbers. 7, 14, 21. What's the biggest number that goes into 7, 14, and 21? They're all in the 7 times table. So 7 is the highest common factor for the numbers. Looking at the letters, I remind myself x squared. How do I write it the long way? X multiplied by x. I'll put in the dot notation this time. You don't have to, but you might find it more useful. And then that y squared is y multiplied by y. We're writing it the long way, keeping that fresh in our mind. Or the other way to be thinking about it is that you want, for each letter that all of the terms have in common? All of the terms have to have the letter. And quickly you will see after all of this work, do all the terms have which letter do all of the terms have? There's only one. Is there Y here? No. So we're not interested in the Y. It's in the two terms, but not in this one. Is there an X in every term? Yeah, so X is what we're going to use. So we don't need to go to the other part about thinking about what is the well, using the lowest power of every letter. We only need the lowest power of one letter, and that letter is X. And looking through, the lowest power of X is in the middle term where we only have X to the power of 1x. So 7x is what's coming out there. And now I have to recreate each of the terms by multiplication. 7x squared was 7xx. I have 7x, so I need another x. That's my 7x squared. 7x times x is 7x squared. What do I multiply 7 by to get the positive 14? That is positive 2. Positive 2. And then I need xy. I have x. Is there any y? No, so I need to put the y in the bracket. Then finally, 7. What do I multiply 7 by to get 21? Minus 21 to be more specific. It will be minus 3. Minus 3 times 7 is minus 21. I have the x. No need for me to write x inside the bracket. It's already outside the bracket. I need y squared. No trace of y here. So I put the y squared in the bracket. That is my answer. X plus 2y take away 3y squared. You'll note inside the bracket, there's a y terms and y letters in two terms, but not in all three. There's no common factors inside the bracket. That check, you can use it continuously throughout all these questions, checking if there's any common factor in the bracket. Have you factorized fully? Going through for D. Let's go for D. We're going in. We're going to nail this. We're going to nail this one. We're looking at the numbers and quickly, that's a 1 there. So no numbers in common. Because I can't do that. So I don't have to worry about the numbers, okay? Just put it in there. We're not going to have a number in common. Now, x's. We have an x. We have an x term. We have an x term. Y, no y. Z, no z. So x is the only letter in common. I'm going for the lowest power, x squared. X squared is what they'll have in common. I can't get x cubed. I can't get x if all I have is x. That's why we lose the lowest power. That's the logic behind it. So now my brackets. Dun, dun, dun. What do I all the numbers are going to remain, so I'm going to have the 5 because I have no number outside. I want x to the power 7. I already have 2 x's being multiplied. How many more do I need to multiply to? I need 5 more. 2 x's and then 5 more will give me 7 x's being multiplied. So x to the power of 5. What do I have at the moment? I have the 5x to the power of 7. That's my x to the power 7, x squared times x to the power 5. So I need the y to finish the job for that term. So I get y in there. Now, x for the second term. X squared is already outside the bracket. Y cubed is not. It is minus. So I put minus y cubed. And finally, I have to use the number. There's no number outside. So I have my plus 4. Probably need a bit more space on the bracket. So I'll just give myself a bit more space. Plus 4. I needed x cubed. X squared, that's my x squared there, the x times x, so I put x squared. Wow, what am I doing? I put x squared multiplied by x. I have x squared multiplied by x. That will give me x cubed. Z, there's no z outside the bracket, so z goes inside the bracket, and that is my factorization. Or so I think. How can I be sure? Well, I can check by expanding the bracket. I multiply the x squared by x to the power 5. That will give me x to the power 7. So tick. The 5, I can see the 5. Tick, tick. Y, I can see the y. Tick, tick. There's no number and there's no y outside. So I'm just matching inside the bracket. X squared is outside the bracket. Tick, tick. Y cubed, there's no y cubed, so y cubed is inside the bracket. Tick, it was a minus sign, tick, so I'm doing that check. Finally, 4, no number outside, so the plus 4 is on the inside. X squared, That's x squared. X times x. I need another x to make x cubed. It's there, tick. And then the z, no z on the outside, it's on the inside, tick, tick. I've checked my expanding my bracket, by expanding the brackets. I've gone through that check and I'm like, yeah, I got this. It is right. I know when I leave the test or the exam room, I know I'm getting full marks because I checked by expanding my bracket. That's your method. That's your strategy. Off you go to try. Come on, give me two of them. Two. Do two. Do two on your own. On your own. I'm going to put up the answers in a moment. Do two on your own. Come on. Come on. You can make it happen. You know you want to do these. You might be feeling. How you feeling? How you feeling? Feeling good? Or are you thinking, oh my goodness, more, but the effort is worth it? You'll feel the rewards later on. You'll worth it. No pain, no gain is what they say. Sometimes, well, actually, it's true for almost everything, I think. Right, so let me get answers to put up for you. Yeah, just need to make sure it's the right exercise. So you pause, you had to go on putting the answers up for you to mark your work. So for the first one, x squared was the common factor. They don't have any, well, there's one, so no numbers in common. So 4y plus 12xy squared plus 1. That's the terms you should have had there. I can make that a bit clearer in my writing. 4y plus 12xy squared plus 1. Because you have x squared, how do I get x squared? I multiply it by 1. Multiply by 1 gives itself. That's the effect of giving me. So x squared times 1 will give you x squared. Don't be careful with the ones. Then b, we have x to the power of 4y. Again, no numbers in common. And we have 6x cubed, and x to the power 4. That times x to the power 4 will give me x to the power 7. I'm multiplying 4 x's, then 3 more. That's 7 in total. We have y, so we need another y to get y squared. Then, and I probably need more space in my bracket, so I'll take that out. And then we have, where am I? Time, take away 4x. And then take away y. That would be your solution there. Those are the two answers. Did you get the two of them right? If you didn't get the two of them right, mark your work. And if you didn't get the two of them right, do one more. Here's the last one to finish off this. Just do one more for practice if you didn't get the two of them right. That is my advice, and I hope you're taking my advice. If not, if you got the two of them right, then you move on to we go to task 20. New stuff, more complexity, more fun. That's the way I feel about it, because yeah, this is my thing. You want to make it your thing, this doing this maths business. So you paused, you had to go. The answer for C, and the answer for C, the common factor is xy. There's no numbers in common. And in the brackets, 3xy, take away 4 y squared. Yeah, you always have to be checking, double checking, plus x cubed. Though that is the answer you should have had. Yeah. Okay, right. As always, if this is something that this is proper, this is proper going into grade 6 territory. You're not, unlike, I don't think you'll ever see one of these on a foundation paper, but you can never tell. But if it is on a foundation paper, this is for somebody I would expect almost getting everything right on the foundation paper, and in some ways thinking, well, why you're not doing the higher paper. So that's where this kind of question is at, giving you a level of complexity. So very, very much in grade 6 territory is what I would say when we're operating at this level of complexity. Right. Thank you. This is Task 19. Done.